The richest man in the world doesn't make cars, rockets, or tech, he makes handbags. Back in 1987, there was a merger between Louis Vuitton and Moët Hennessy, which birthed LVMH, a family-owned company comprised of some of the biggest brands in the world, including Givenchy, Marc Jacobs, Fendi, and most recently acquired Tiffany & Co. So, Matt, I'd love your thoughts on what they're doing and how they're acquiring these large brands.
Yeah, I think what's happening now in the luxury market is super interesting. Nike has kind of fallen behind, even though they're not a luxury brand, but in market capitalization or company size, or like what the valuation of this business is less than the guy who's making handbags, which I think is super interesting. I also think how LVMH is letting the brands run independent is fascinating as well, right? Like even though they're separate houses, because that's effectively fashion houses, what they call them, brand houses or whatever. Even though they're separate, they're still kind of leveraging the infrastructure provided by the larger holding company to do that. So I think that's cool. I think the other thing that I find really interesting is the fact that these businesses are still growing. They're not slowing down. And in an environment at the moment where people are really worried about, inflation and costs and how that's going to impact things, these luxury businesses are on a tear.
Yeah. So do you think we'll see that this trend kind of continue into the future, or do you think there'll be a peak?
Hard to say, forecasting is a bit of a funny thing, but I think, they're only really scratching the surface of China. Like these markets see the Chinese market and Asian markets as huge markets to kind of go after. The Chinese middle class is just absolutely gigantic and continuing to grow. And I think these luxury businesses are now kind of targeting not like a hyper luxury, this kind of middle market luxury, which is really interesting. These kind of like high income earners, but they're not quite wealthy yet. They're buying a lot of these products. So I think that's interesting. And I think that's where there's lots of opportunity, not just for these large conglomerates and businesses, but for other people and other brands.
Yeah.